So I'm going to read Luke chapter 23. And this is for the National Guards and the Pentagon. Women, do not deny something because it helps you to get out. You don't want to go in a big hole with this one. Luke chapter 23. Then the whole company of them arose and brought him before Pilate, and they began to accuse him, saying, "We found this man misleading our nation, forbidding us to give tribute to Caesar, saying that he himself is a Christ, a king." And Pilate asked him, "Are you a king of the Jews?" And he answered him, You have said so." Then Pilate said to the chief priests, the crowds, "I found no guilt in this man." But they were urgent, saying, "He stirs up the people, teaching throughout all Judea, from Galilee even to this place." When Pilate heard this, he asked whether the man was a Galilean. And when he learned that he belonged to Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him over to Herod, who was himself Jerusalem at that time. When Herod saw Jesus, he was very glad, for he had long desired to see him, because he had heard about him. And he was hoping to see some sign done by him. So he questioned him at some length, but he made no answer. The chief priests and the scribes stood by Venelum, accusing him, and Herod with his soldiers treating him with contempt and mocked him. They arrayed him in splendid clothing and sent him back to Pilate. Herod and Pilate became friends with each other that very day, for before this they had been in enmity with each other. Pilate then called together the chief priests and the rulers, and the people said to them, "You brought me this man as one who was misleading the people. After examining him before you, behold, I did not find this man guilty of any of charges against him. Neither did Herod, for he sent back to us, look, nothing deserving death has been done by him. I will therefore punish him and release him." Now he was obliged to release one man to them at the festival. But they all cried out together, "Away with this man, and release to us Barnabas, a man who had been thrown into prison for insurrection started in the city, and for murder." Pilate addressed them once more, desiring to release Jesus, but they kept shouting, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" And the third time he said to them, "What evil has he done? I have found in him no guilt deserving death. I will therefore punish him and release him." This tells you who Jesus is, a woman. But they were urgent, demanding with loud cries that he should be crucified, and their voices prevailed. So Pilate decided that their demand should be granted. He released the man who had been thrown into prison for an insurrection, a murder.
Yeah, you can read the whole chapter. You just 5 minutes or 10
Make a big light spring in the street on a big you got blood on your face. You big can I call him the least? Taking your hand all over the place. Singing, "We will rock you."
About 1 more minute to finish that whenever you're reading to them, because they can read that themselves.
And it says right here, and it said, but they urged, demanding with loud cries that he should crucify, and their voices prevailed. So Pilate decided that their demand should be granted. He released the man who had been thrown into prison for insurrection, murder. For they asked, but he delivered Jesus over to their will. As they led him away, they seized one Simon Cyrus, who was coming in from the country, and laid him on the cross to carry it behind Jesus, and therefore followed him, and granted the multitude people of the women who were mourning and lamenting for him. But turning to them, Jesus said, "Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For behold, the days are coming when they will say, blessed are the barren and the wombs that never bore, and the breasts that never nursed. Then they will begin to say, the mountains fall on us, and to the hills cover us. For if they do these things when the wood is green, what will happen when it is dry? This is Luke chapter 23. Now you know that Jesus is a woman. Talks about it right here in Luke chapter 23. And Jesus was bearing a child, the great one. So why it says right here in verse, for behold, the days are coming when they will say, blessed are the barren and the wombs that never bore and the breasts that never nursed.